Today guys, we're gonna show you some weird security cam videos. Can you imagine how many videos gets recorded every day by CCTV? Luckily for you, we've gathered some of the most interesting footages. Some of this stuff is actually quite scary, so be prepared, because we'll tell you about people who disappeared and never came back. Instant karma. This guy didn't know he was caught by CCTV cameras, and it's not like he did something out of the ordinary. So what we see is a man in a hoodie walking past a car parked by the fence. We then see him return with a brick in his hand, and he looks like he's gonna smash the window now, and whoops, nothing happens. Actually, something does happen. The brick flies right back at his stupid face. God knows what the hell he was expecting. The owner of the car said that the loser of a burglar certainly got what he deserved. The man was later arrested. It turned out that it wasn't the first attempt to steal a car, so poor bastard will probably have to spend some time in prison now. Clown by the door. With the release of the remake of the legendary film It, streets of many cities in the United States got filled with all kinds of spooky clowns. There's an interesting footage from a surveillance camera in Springfield, Florida. What would you do if you found a spooky looking clown at your door? It would be a real life nightmare scenario, wouldn't it? But the weird thing is that It came out in 2017 and the clown hysteria in the United States began in 2014. Seems like no one can explain what made adults dress like clowns and walk around in front of windows scaring the hell out of people. And this instance was recorded in the city of Sevastopol. It's like you don't really get what's so funny about this video at first. It's kind of a narrow exit, but the man deals with it. Then we see how the car rolls back a little. And that's not surprising. A lot of people don't get along with automatic gates and barriers. But this driver will certainly remember this day for a long time, because only a minute after he left, his car starts rolling down again and it knocks down the barrier. In fact, take a look at the bar, you guys. It's right in there. And it wasn't a very good idea to step on it afterwards. Stealing on the go. There are many options to choose from when it comes to stealing. We see three men climbing in a moving truck to get some pineapples. The guy who was driving behind simply observed what was happening in front of his eyes. But when one of the thieves jumped off the truck and almost fell under his wheels, he finally decided to warn the truck driver that he was being robbed. Turns out the trucker was actually used to this kind of thing, and he didn't even stop. He later said that it's the kind of thing that happens almost every day, because trucks move very slowly at that section of the road. Well, looks like there were more than enough pineapples in the back. You may be thinking that cameras rarely capture important stuff, but oh no, don't think that. There's more interesting and bizarre things up ahead. Stay with us and we'll tell you about a man who disappeared right in the middle of the airport. We'll tell you about a girl who was kidnapped and found thanks to security cam footage. And we have a story about a mysterious disappearance at the hotel. Don't go anywhere. If you suddenly lose a couple of sheep from your flock, what's the last place you're gonna check for them? That's right, the roof. And now check out what happened to a shepherd from Cambria in February this year. According to the farmer, the weather that day was terrible, and it's likely that the sheep climbed onto the roof to escape the flood, which may very well be true since the farm is on the lake. Luckily, nothing bad happened. Joking about what happened, the man said that theoretically, it isn't very hard for sheep to climb up. It's actually much more difficult to get down. A lot of people think that Grand Theft Auto missions are all made up and have nothing to do with real life. If that's what you're thinking, then have a look at this. This is a gun store robbery in Houston, Texas, and it looks just like computer game mission. We see 12 robbers breaking into the store. It's funny how casually they pull out the gates with their pickup truck, and after barbarians rip out the gate, they all run inside. Then they spend about 30 seconds to steal all the things they came there for, and we can see that all of them were wearing masks and gloves. It's like in just half a minute they managed to steal about 50 pieces of weapon, and that actually makes them dangerous organized crime members. By the way, they were never found. The police only has this footage, but they have no idea where to look for these criminals now. Yep, just like a computer game. This thief didn't get lucky. The security camera in a jewelry store in Thailand received detailed footage of a very unfortunate robbery. A man walks into a store asking to try a $650 gold chain. As soon as the thief puts chain around his neck, he dashes towards the exit door. But whoops, the door is locked. Turns out the seller suspected there was something fishy about the man and blocked the door remotely. The silly thief has no choice but to give the chain back and wait for the police to come and take him away. Some of you may think there's nothing unusual about this recording. They make videos with models in most unexpected places sometimes, like maybe some fashion magazine organized a kind of event right on the subway. The girl looks right for a model. She moves about gracefully and she doesn't even pay attention to the crowd of people walking back and forth. Well, the strange thing is that there's no camera crew. There's only one camera to capture her glorious movements, and it's the CCTV. Let's not forget that they put cameras everywhere, not for capturing funny stories, but for the sake of our safety. And here's a good example of that. When a 22-year-old Carlisha disappeared in Philadelphia, no one had any idea of where to look for her, and so the recording helped a great deal. They showed an unknown person attacking the girl and dragging her into the car. Luckily, both the car and its license plate were visible. The police even managed to get a record with the kidnapper plays with the girl's credit card. After collecting a fair amount of evidence, the police went to the kidnapper's house. Fortunately, the girl was there with him. She was rescued and the bad man was arrested. Unlike the previous story, this one has a bad ending. A German tourist by the name Lars came to chill in Bulgaria in 2014. He disappeared right after he left the airport, and the last thing that saw him was a security camera. We only know that Lars was in Bulgaria for vacation. We also know that he accidentally got into a fight on one of the beaches. During the fight, he badly injured his eardrum, and for that reason went to see a doctor. He wanted to fly home, but the doctor said he couldn't do that because of the injury and prescribed the man to stay in the country for at least 1 week. Then Lars packed his things, changed the hotel and laid low. He called his mother several times and said there were 4 men following him around. Finally, he managed to buy tickets to fly back and rush to the airport. Nobody knows what happened to him before the flight. In the last day, we see Lars running as fast as he can from the airport. The death of young Eliza Lam has been worrying a lot of people for several years. The story is very strange indeed. Everything was totally normal. Eliza was a good girl. She studied at one of the best universities in Canada. After she graduated, she worked part-time in stores and later got a job at a bank. In her free time, the girl enjoyed traveling. She was not afraid to take trips alone, and her parents were never against her solitary travels. On the contrary, they always encouraged Elizabeth's independence and curiosity. In January 2013, she came to the United States and stayed at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. A couple of weeks later, the hotel guests complained about the strange water taste. The hotel staff checked the pumps, boilers, and water tanks, and one day they found Eliza's body in one of them. The tank was sealed from the outside. The police could not find any evidence. The girl wasn't wearing any clothes, and because she stayed in the water for a long time, all the evidence were destroyed. On the last day of her life, she appeared on cameras several times. She behaved in a very strange manner. The footage shows her hiding in the elevator, and she looks like she doesn't dare to go out in the corridor. She looks around the corner and yells. She tries to leave the elevator several times, goes out and then changes her mind and runs back into the elevator, and then goes out again. She looks like she's calling for someone. The video has no sound, but it actually makes the footage even more frightening. The last time we see Elizabeth is when she leaves the elevator and goes out into the corridor. The girl disappears from the recording, but the elevator doesn't leave the floor. It remains there, and the door opens and closes several times, as if something's holding it. But the floor looks completely empty. The story interests a lot of people, and there are a lot of spooky stories about Cecil Hotel. Some even say that the place is haunted, and that there are several ghosts in there. That's it guys, don't forget to press thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell to stay tuned for upcoming episodes. See you later.